Yeah, well, thanks so much for joining me. You've been off to a great start in the year. You put out two new singles. So how does it feel to have them out there?
Yeah, it feels really good. I've been sitting on these tracks for like 2 years now, so it's nice to finally be able to get them going. Yeah, I'm excited to do more.
And you said you've been sitting on them for a while. So how did you know why is now the right time to put those tracks out there?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think I wanted to like wait until I had at least like 10 of them, right? So I could start releasing and keep the ball rolling and not feel that creative pressure of like releasing on like alongside each other because when you're releasing it's like a different mindset to when you're writing a song, and they can kind of swamp each other at the same time.
So you're saying why now was the right time, but what has the reaction been like? Have people reached out and said that they're loving these tracks and loving what you're putting out there?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's always weird, like, again, like these are my first like two songs with this alias, so it's always fun at the start because when someone reaches out to you, it's like, oh wow, like that's fun, like how'd you find it, like blah blah blah. So it's really cool, like hearing what people are saying and having people excited this early on.
Yeah. And with your latest release, Can't You See, you've mentioned that that's come from personal experience. So can you tell us more about how you shape your personal experience into storytelling and songwriting?
Yeah, sure. So with making music for me, it can be like a lot of being a musician. A lot of my peers are also musicians, and they're always writing, always working on music, and I really struggle with that because I have like my biggest thing is that I have to feel like I need to live a lot and lots of life to have like I could live like 30 different experiences in 1 week and get one sentence out of it. So like, yeah, to me, usually it's like I have to feel a lot of things in my personal life to be able to bring that to a song. But then there's moments like Can't You See where I just like it's this one feeling that's been culminating and culminating for months and months, and then one night I just finally and it all comes out into one song.
Yes.
So yeah, it's yeah, just how life works into it, and then it's all about subtext too. I'm not directly saying the exact situation, but we all go through similar experiences as life goes on.
Yeah, and it's great because, as I said, the two singles you've already got out there, I've really enjoyed them. It looks like other people have too. So it's good to see that you're in that space where you're comfortable putting out music and sharing some of your stories as well.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's great. It's fun writing the songs, and it's fun having people like be like, oh, like the songs really like I really resonate with that, or even just them liking it. It's good enough.
Yeah. And I know you're based in New Zealand, but I see that you've also had opportunities to, explore as well, Los Angeles, New York. So tell me more about like your musical experience, and why those particular areas as well.
Yeah, so I guess like I've been doing music, well, like maybe 10 years now. Like I was in all ages scenes growing up, just locally. And then as I got a bit older, or a bit like more into it, I started putting the instruments down and stopped doing live and started opening my laptop more and doing music on that, and learning how Logic and stuff works. And through that, doing music online, you meet a lot of people. And then as you get older and older, it's like, oh well, we should all like meet up. And so have had the privilege to make a lot of friends online that like now are just like my friends. And so when I get to go to New York and go to LA to see them, it's just as normal as it would be seeing like my friends I see here.
Yeah, it sounds like collaboration is an important part to you and your music as well. Um,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I just love, I love my friends, and I love doing things with my friends. It makes that experience, so much more memorable.
yeah. And in saying that, do you have any like dream people who you'd absolutely love to collaborate with?
It's tough. It's like, the whole like never meet your heroes thing. It's like I'd hate to like, work on a song with someone that I really look up to and the song just blows. It's like then I'm like, like I'm gonna have a tainted view on that. So I don't know. I kind of like that it's like I work with either by myself or with my close friends, and maybe if that opportunity came along later, um, just naturally, it could be cool. But even then, I'm pretty happy with just doing it. with, like the two to three people I keep around me.
Yeah. And you mentioned earlier that you were waiting to release these songs until you had some other songs that can go with it for like a longer project. So is that where you want to head on to next, like an EP or an album, or where do you see yourself going from here?
Yeah, I mean, like releasing music and streaming and stuff these days, you have a lot more like you can be a lot more fluid with how you do it, right? So I can release these two singles and I can keep releasing them until I feel like, oh, maybe I'll make it a project or scrap that and keep releasing it or just drop it all as an album. So it's the beauty of it, right? It's that it's so fluid, so I can kind of just feel it out and see it out. Um, but yeah, I definitely like the idea of a project because it's sort of I wrote them over X amount of time, so they feel like X amount of time. So I think, yeah, we'll see what I do.
Yeah, and these other songs you mentioned, do they explore like a similar theme of like personal experience through storytelling, or can you tell us more about yeah, what you are working on?
Sure, yeah, I think they all sort of have like the same theme. I think there's like different levels of vulnerability within them, and different perspectives. It's like when it's a sunny day, sometimes I'm like, this is amazing, this is the best feeling I've ever had. But then some days I'm like, oh, it's too hot, I'm like so sweaty, and so it's sort of it's all about the same sort of experience because of the same time, and a lot of different perspectives I had during that, right?
And going back to your recent single, you mentioned that there's also a music video. So you can tell us a bit about that and what you hope people take away from not only the lyrics of the song, but also like the visual representation too.
Yeah, sure. So I did that video with my good friend Harry. We did that. He's in New York, and we went out to Connecticut or New Haven in Connecticut, to film that. But to me, like the song is about like it's just feeling like misunderstood, I guess, by someone around you, or anyone around you. It's that simple. And I think doing music, you feel that anyway. You feel like, oh, like, I just want someone to understand what I'm trying to do a lot of the time. And having someone like Harry, who I've been friends with for a while now, like, we both felt that similarly, and to be able to express that through the song and the lyrics and how I feel about it then, but for him to be able to express that in the visuals, and really capture that too, is, yeah, really special. And so, yeah, I don't know. I just want people to, take me for who I am, I guess.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And in terms of like live performances, do you have anything coming up this year where people can come out and support you, support your music?
Yeah, nothing to say yet, but there's definitely I've got a lot of plans for live, which I'm excited about.
Yeah. And that's great to hear too, because obviously, your music's great. We'd love to come out and support you. And in saying that, a lot of our audience is based in Australia. So, as you're based in New Zealand, what are some ways that international fans can support you, so you can continue releasing new music as well?
Honestly, just listening to it's like the best thing. Listening to it, show a friend, add it to a playlist. That all helps with like the streaming side of things. But even just for me, like knowing that someone, has resonated with the song and wanted to share it and wanted to, put it in the playlist and show people it. Like that's what I love about music and listening to it. So I think that really helps me on all fronts, but also like makes me feel, the happiest.
Yeah. And you've got such a unique sound too, which I love. So I'd love to hear more about if there's any certain like albums or artists or like bands that have inspired you and what you're putting out there.
Yeah, I mean, like, countless and countless inspirations always. But I guess in terms of albums, I've got a CD player in my car, and I have an aux cable as well. But when my phone's dead or like the adapter's not working, I listen to Brand New Eyes, the Paramore album, and that just always plays. Like again, if I'm going for like a 5 minute drive and I don't want to plug in my phone, so that album there, like Paramore Brand New Eyes, is one of the best albums. Always, every time I listen to it, come back to it. It's great. Um, Maybe Minerals and Serenading album. Just I don't know. I think the lyrics on that stuff and all the Mineral stuff and the energy live is just amazing. Um, and then I don't know. I don't know. I love so much music. Like Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys is the Pet Sounds album obviously is a massive influence on my music as well, whether it's obvious or not. Um, and then yeah, as there's so many things, but that's a good spread, I think.
Yeah, and that's such a great mix as well. It's very diverse taste in music and inspiration as well.
Yeah. Sorry, last one. The Stina Nordenstam album. And She Closed Her Eyes. That album was like the soundtrack while I was writing all these songs. I love that album.
Yeah, as I said, yeah, very great diverse taste and mix in inspiration. Yeah, well, thanks so much. Like that's pretty much all my questions. But were there any other comments that you wanted to add about like this particular release or things that you want people to know about the music or yourself as an artist?
No, no, that's perfect. I'll leave it up to everyone else, right? I'm comfy with who I am, so.
Yeah.